Evening. Ooh, hang on. I might have the mic too high. Good evening. It is 9 o'clock on a Tuesday, and I am here to make another puzzle for you, yes, you, to admire and enjoy, and hopefully learn something along the way. This week, I haven't fully decided what I want to make this week. Um, Looking at what I have recently done on Patreon. Last week was a Pathfinder and a Spiral before that. This week I'm putting out a variety cryptic. The week after I have a two-tone puzzle. Spell weaving. Rat Party could try a right angles. Probably not going to, excuse me, not going to do another cryptic right on the heels of the other one. Um, I could do a Super Sixes maybe. Probably want to do the smaller size of that if I do more cryptics. Bonus marching bands. So yeah, if you have any requests while I ponder my puzzle, please let me know. Even if you don't have requests, if you're watching me, give a shout in the chat and let me know that you are watching. Let's see. I had worked on a Cascades, which I still need to finish, but I want to do that on my own time. So I was considering doing something with this puzzle type that basically made an appearance in a variety cryptic I wrote in February uh, called Family Jewels that was based on the heist of the Shadow Diamond in the 2025 MIT Mystery Hunt. And I was considering bringing it back, but I think I may want to spend some time on that on my own before I try to do it on stream. Uh, hmm, Double or nothing. I haven't done a double or nothing in a while. Could do that. Uh, sure, let's try double or nothing. Mm, but do I have... My problem with a double or nothing is I feel like I need to work off of a theme. What was my last double or nothing theme? It was words with three pairs of double letters, I see. Yeah. Um, so I could do that. So right angles is reliable. I know I can do it. Um, Double or nothing. Once I get started, I know I can do it. Super sixes, again, I need some kind of punchline to work towards. Yeah, last time I did a larger than usual Super Sixes grid, as you can see here, that had 13 letters in the final answer, but it wound up being a little bit too big in terms of fitting on the page. So I might want to stick to one of the smaller templates. Let's duplicate this. Maybe say SS202512. So I want a 9-letter answer to go in these unused squares. Usually want it to be something that is relatively thematic for the title of Super Sixes. The title being, this is a format that Neville Fogarty invented, I believe, for Will Shortz's wordplay back, a decade or more ago. And I feel like I've run out of things that relate to sixes or super things that are 9 letters long. But maybe I can surprise myself. 6. This might be a little bit niche, but I might, if I set up the prompt, that it could be something about something that once tried to be part of a great sextet, but definitely isn't, and that Lake Champlain, I don't remember exactly when it was, but uh, some politicians, presumably like the Vermont uh, congressional delegation, were trying to get Lake Champlain recognized as the sixth Great Lake. And this actually briefly, I think this briefly passed, and then people went, no, this is ridiculous. Uh, Although I kind of feel like maybe it should be something that tried to join an existing sextet rather than something that joins a quintet to make us, because it didn't make six. Hmm. Uh, I'll give it a little bit more time before to think of an alternative before I jump into this. Hmm. There are technically 6 anti-quarks, but that really doesn't have the same ring as the not equal to 9 letters quark. Um, there's not really an established sextet format in classical music. Like you have string quartet has been uh, a thing going back to Haydn. Um, Brass quintet is quite common. There are various trio formats, particularly the piano trio, piano, violin, and cello. Um, the L'Histoire du Soldat. No, that's 7 because there's percussion. Uh, I was gonna go off on particular pieces. The Pierrot ensemble might be 6 letters, but or it might be 6 members, but um, I am not expecting the average solver to know or even care what a Pierrot ensemble is. Um, but for completeness sake, it refers to the Schoenberg song cycle Pierrot Lunaire, which has which is for a singer and an ensemble that is like flute, clarinet, violin, cello, piano, and no, it's not percussion because there's Pierrot plus percussion. Ugh. Maybe it's just those 5? Hmm. None of this is relevant to what I'm actually doing. I am just procrastinating. What comes in 6s? Um, Soda and beer. Um, there are 6 players on a hockey team, but I find it interesting that that they generally tend to, when talking about players, don't really count the goalie. So like if you, so if one player is in the penalty box because they've done something naughty, it's a power play, and one team has because the other team has a player up, and so they want to take advantage of it. If 2 players from the same team are in the penalty box, they say it's 5-on-3, even though it's really 6-on-4. And if a player pulls their goalie, or if a team pulls their goalie to get more offense, they'll say they have a 6th man on the ice. I don't know. I guess goalies are kind of not important in hockey. That seems quite wrong. It's but uh, I should not go on about sport, especially a sport that I know very little about. Um, Maybe snowflake. Could even I am planning to put out a snowflake later this month in December. Probably later once it's actually at least astronomically winter. And so maybe I can say it's, an object associated with 6 that also hints at an upcoming puzzle. Sure. Now, do I have... I do not have older Super 6s on here. So I don't know how I did this. A, B, C. Pretty sure there are 15 rows. And 3 of them are 15 wide, 4 of them are 13 wide. And then we have 2 5s, a 7, and a 10. So my question is, do I try to get... I know I'm going to have a single entry in the 5s and 7s. The question is, do I also try to get a single entry in the 10s? And I think I do, because this is a pretty forgiving format. I'm not going to try to have any single entries in the 13s and 15s. What did I... Here I have... Oh, but I changed this. This is... Yeah. I did... In this version that I did a couple months ago where I was doing the larger size grid, I did manage to get a single entry in each of the 10 rows. And then everything else is 15 or 16 and had 2. But I think I will then go for 10 for single entry in rows D and L. Just have a little bit more, I was going to say pizzazz, but that depends on the 10 letter entries I pick, doesn't it? Now, a Super 6s breaks up even more nicely, I would say, than a Rose Garden. In part because the answers on average are shorter, the row answers. Neville created the Super 6s format because he said he wanted to do something like a Rose Garden, but that he was capable of filling, because not all of us can be Patrick Berry. In fact, pretty much, most of us aren't. So I don't know where I want to start in here. Like, I kind of want to start around the 10s. Like, I'm sure that whatever I have here in row C and row M, those 7s, I can find 5s to tie off the ends. And I'm reasonably sure that I can, like, even from the 10s grow out. So I probably want to maybe work on maybe the middle, because the 10s are also, they don't intersect any of the letters in the answer. This K is This K and this W are especially juicy. Maybe I try this K and work my way up. maybe I want Sky, maybe Skywriter. Do you say Skywriter? Or is it skywriting? Oh, is it just skywriting? Okay, it's a. Oh God, I didn't even really think about sky typing. I didn't realize sky typing was the name for it. Uh, where you have several planes all sort of laying down pixels instead of trying to do all of the loops in one go. Could maybe be. And actually, now that I have that, could I? Probably not. This is pretty much just like flukes, I think. Or skull. Oh no, skulls is gonna be give me LSS at the start of here. Uh, 6. What is a Saluki other than? I know it is the mascot of some university. It's a hound. Okay. Bacula. All right, let's try Luke Skywalker as a 13. I'm not going to shoot for any other 13s, so it'll be a little bit lopsided in that way. Oops. So maybe chlorine and something ending vine. Levine, Irvine. Could I do? No. My one problem with doing chlorine and something I could do, bovine would at least be interesting. Although OB, uh, Obama with 2 letters. Obviate is. Sorry, I got distracted for a second because my cat is snoring loud enough that I can hear her across the room while I have these headphones on. It's very cute. So obviate is possible. But I still am not thrilled with having these two entries both just ending in INE. I don't know, it feels like I want a little bit more in life. What else? I mean, there's like valor, color, dolorous, calorie, DeLorean. So it's mostly a lot of things with chloro and color. And I only want to go as long as 11, unless I do a full 15, which I said I was not going to do any more full long ones. So this V means that whatever is here, unless it is a word that begins with V and goes counterclockwise, this needs to be a vowel, Y, or possibly L or R. Because you could have something like, I don't know, halves. So what if we say that it's a vowel or Y or L or R? Ooh, boy. I didn't think so. I was thinking of a way of breaking up DeLorean. Could have like Colorado and Vigoda, but don't know what I did there. Where I'd have like Colorado, something starting with IG to get Vigoda, but mm, Finery, no. Also, that wouldn't work out. So let's see. So I'd probably. Oh, I accidentally deleted that A. So I guess I do have chlorine. Could also have divine. But that doesn't have any ways to finish it. Ravine. That has a lot more. Let's try maybe A, R, M. A, R. Alright, so now I do want to figure out this 10 because I've now. I wonder if I actually um, overextended myself here. I don't know. I have. So this could be rodent, it could be any number of things starting with are this could be recent, relent, repent, resent. This can be a number of things that start with W and end with Y. So this is probably the most constrained, just to rule some things out. Who spells it Kendall with one L? Okay, nobody that's well known, and it's a small town in somewhere in England. All right, so not that. You can see what has Claxon. that's not going to play nicely with the other letters. S, S, T, O, O, T, S. No. Alkali. Okay, I don't see anything where it ends in O, so we'll do E. Recent, relent, repent, resent. Oh, regent. Oh, I don't want to. Still Alice. Let's, I don't want to have a British ISE ending. Just okay, so not alkali. And obviously, I don't want anything with walk. Falkor is the luck dragon from Neverending Story. Don't know how well known the Neverending Story is to people significantly younger than me, although my partner Zilla is in the middle of making a video that uses the setting of Neverending Story to talk about hope and despair. Yeah, this might not actually have worked after all. Uh, what the hell is Lanark? Another small English town. Sorry, Scottish. Definitely not English. Another small British town. I mean, there's also a couple of other things we could have. We could have like Sentra, the Nissan model, Gentry, Sentry. Trap. Oh, right, Entree. Entree would make it possible to have the letter here be consonant. Hmm. Sable stole. Yeah, I really don't think any of this is going to work the way I want it to. Alad. Bleh, alas. So the question is, do I stick with A13, but then 2 to fill out this 10? I think I'd rather fill out the 10 with a single one. And unfortunately, this Walker is what's proving to be the problem. So I can't just like keep Skywalker. So let's maybe press kit and something. Then we have something like pander. Uh, Anderson. I want to avoid this ER or RE. Kind of forces me into doing something like recess or SE something RS. Excuse me. Andante. But now that's really wants to be something like salons. All right. I definitely still want to have something which is P something ER. There's a lot of that. Uh, oh, side note. Kott changed their font like a week or two ago, and it's weird. It's, it's just, it's different, and therefore bad. Hmm. I kind of want to have pupper and uppies. Um, I usually don't have that sort of register of slang in my puzzles. Not that I'm opposed to it, but like, and I say this with the fullest respect, the first thing it puts me in mind of is one of Ada Nicole's puzzles because she has a lot of that type of entry, and I'm always like, I never would have put this in a puzzle, but I love it. So maybe it's time for me to put that in a puzzle. So I could have something like kissed and maybe something like talk down. I mean, this could be in place of the K. I could have a variety of letters. I could also have yes sir, which doesn't really give good letters. Um, you know, I um, could also be Nessie or something like that, or Bessie, possibly Bessie Smith. Uh, Hugely influential early blues singer. Uh, oh, celebrity. Okay. It's not great letters. Even less good with an I. I looked at Salib's ox. I'm not actually sure how you pronounce that. I only, considering that I just think of the island as Sulawesi, so I assume that it's not just Salib's. Celebes ox. I looked at this and put the space between the E and the S. It's like the Red Sox have a minor league team in Indonesia. Sure. Um, we also have rule book. Um, Hale Bop reminds me of. Um, so Hale Bop was a comet that made the news sometime in the mid 90s for being like big and passing close to to Earth or something. I almost said close to the US, which is not false in terms of, the distance that comets usually are from the US, but also definitely not the right thing to say. Um, but anyway, one of my favorite composers is John Adams, and he has a piano concerto called Century Rolls. And the third movement is called Hail Bop, Hailbop, because he heard people talking about the comet and thought that's what they were saying and was disappointed when it turned out to just be a couple of people's names. Um, I think, although, as much as I really like that concerto, I think that's that particular name, Hail Bop, is sort of overselling that movement. It's not my favorite movement. The first movement is amazing. Okay, so I don't really like any of those. But if I'm like, all right, like this is really most of the options for uh, folk duo. Although I might really want a longer thing. I'm looking to these with an eye for what comes after the fifth letter, because that's going to have to combine with this S. And the problem with a lot of these that start with where the second word starts with S or the second part is that we're also going to have that S coming being adjacent to these letters. So it's going to be hard to come up with a different enough word in those instances. Um, Feldspar has a. There's this cozy game um, called My Time at Sandrock. It's from a series of My Time at games that's made by a Chinese game studio, and they're for being a cozy building game. There's surprisingly a lot to it, um, but in My Time at Sandrock, there's one character who really likes rocks, and he comes to you because the shelf where he keeps his rock collection broke and he needs it rebuilt. And then he invites you to come back and help him install the new rock shelf and put the rocks back on it. And he talks about like with the different rocks, and he's like, this top shelf is for the best rocks. You know, this middle shelf is for the medium rocks, and this bottom shelf, I mean, you know, he it's for just like the most common things. And he's like take this quartz. It's not very special. It's practically the most common uh, rock there is besides feldspar. Feldspar. Um, and then later he asks which rock do you think I should put on this bottom shelf, and you can say like quartz or whatever the other option was. You can even say, is quartz the romantic option? If you want to try to flirt with him, he gets very flustered by that. But one of the options is feldspar. The game is the writing just it the writing is better than it has any right to be in that game. Milkshake again with the uh, problem with the X with the S's. Can also have KR. Excuse me. Folk rock is good. Silk Road is a nice word but doesn't give good letters. Just want to see stuff that like there's not a whole lot of stuff that has a D instead of the S. Um, so one way that I can have there be an S without the problem of there being too much overlap is if it's a word where it's actually the first part of the word ends in that S, like holds down, holds dear. Maybe like VOLKSWAGEN, and then maybe wagers here. Be nice if I could get something that actually goes the other way, where that's one way to get out of the S trap is if it actually goes counterclockwise in this. Hmm. I could, okay, here's, it's like even here, like although they're not etymologically related, the wagon versus wager is again like just a little samey. So how about film score and escort? Well, we'll see if that ET works out. Etchant. I don't like that word. I've used it a couple of times because it had nice wordplay stuff. Oh, that's also kind of. I guess you could have techno. All right. Wait, I don't even know why I had that end there. Techno still would have worked. Could have like Palm Sunday and then maybe Sunder or Undies, but then that would have something starting with EI, which is not good. Hmm. Okay, I can't go more than 11 letters in order to have enough room for a second entry in that row. Just, I don't know why I'm being so particular about this. Well, maybe folk rock and then socket, and what will go there? I'm thinking maybe T-ball. After going into the weeds about how many people are on a soccer team, now we're going on to a sport that I actually at least have playing experience with, albeit that was 40 years ago. I don't remember how old I was when I first played. Like, so it was T-ball, then baseball, where there's an adult doing an underhand pitch to you, and then baseball, where we're the ones doing the throwing, pitching. I was a decent pitcher in Little League, but not so much in T-ball. Of course, now I'm back to a position where like everything's wide open. Um, is there a way that we could get another F here just to have something like off? I guess we could have feeble and then L something. E, or maybe elegant. Let's go with elegant. Although now I wonder if I can make something work. A, B, B, L, E. Probably not. That might be too uh, especially as there's not actually that much that works here with. All right, so that's also not how you spell coffee table. So coffee table wouldn't even fit. It'd have to be something like coffee date. coffee bean. If it were, excuse me, if it was going to be coffee date, uh, then this one is probably going to have to be a consonant to do something like abated. There's a few things like agreed or allied where it could be an E or an I. I doubt. Doesn't look like any of these are doing what I want them to. Ah, this is absolutely not going to work in the puzzle because it's going to basically put the Q by it. Well, if I had El Duque, it'd be like DUQ. This Q is not going to work there, but I'm trying to remember the name of the baseball player who was nicknamed El Duque. I want to say Enrique Hernandez or Fernandez. As a person living in Boston and with him being a good pitcher for the Yankees, I was kind of obligated to vaguely hate him. Um, keep going to this template that I'm not using. We'll also close that one since I'm not using it. We'll see. Coffee shop. I think I should. This is telling me is that I should probably do something. So could do something like offensive, but I may want to start with this, with the one below it. I could I could bash it a little bit. Um, so let's see. AB equals 3, A equals 0, B equals 0, C equals 3. E A B dot dot, right? ELC dot dot, twiddle A, C twiddle B. Nothing to write home about there. A certain segment of puzzle solvers will recognize Maisie Adams, a comedian who is on the most recent series of Taskmaster. Uh, the one comedian from this series that I previously knew through her appearances on other shows like QI. So the other thing I can do is swap those two. Oops, forgot to put C back in here. Fortunately, I don't think any of these will work in the EAS. They're not really going to work with the um, this 6 over here. But I still have one more. Oh wait, I also was doing that wrong. Which means I also did it wrong when I had um, in the search before that. Could have like snored or something like herons, barons. That's not the normal spelling of Eldritch, is it? Yeah. So I could possibly see doing Allison, Coffee Bars, and Isabel, but that's. Or possibly. Oh no, this. That LY and CK definitely don't go together in that part of the grid. But if we switch these out to run that second search the proper way, I still got the same ones with elixirs because IXI was the thing that needed to be reversed, so that doesn't change. Also Maisie because the ISI doesn't change. So we go back to, now I have to change all of this to get to the last one. LYGS. So I could have smugly. I don't want to have Elbonia. That is the fictional, I think he calls it fourth world country, land of mud from the Dilbert cartoons. Um, and the less I have to do with Scott Adams, the better. What is El Monte other than the mountain? A city in California, population 100,000, the end of the Santa Fe Trail. Like, no offense to El Monte, but 100,000 is kind of nothing for a California city, especially being just one of many suburbs of Los Angeles. All right, so now if I take that off and I'm not trying to do coffee, what was the one I did say that I could use? I could use, was it coffee mugs? And elderly and demure. Oh, but then I'd have either smugly or snugly, and that's not gonna do well. Singly has the same problem. I hadn't thought about the fact that I was going up against a W. Never go in against a W when death is on the line. I never changed the title here. Super sixes. Okay. Excuse me. Ugh. Yeah, I don't think any of these are gonna even like here putting the ed of elapsed next to the up of offered up is not going to work in the next one. So what I think that means is that off will be part of the first word. I am taking a long time to arrive at these conclusions. We'll go with elegant. So is there anything that ends in just out of curiosity, what is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Besides black coffee, Irish coffee, Greek coffee? I R profit fits but gives me bad letters. Figaro. Okay, so now maybe I don't want elegant. Let's try maybe ASTIC and then Easter RE something. Figaro, Figaro, Figaro. I was gonna try to sing Largo al Factotum, but I can never, even when I know the words to uh, a, an aria in an Italian opera, the pronunciation of it, like there are just so many syllables that just get dropped everywhere, and I don't know enough Italian to actually know, like, oh, either dropped or multiple syllables run together, like in the titular opening line "Largo al factotum." I'm pretty sure go and al become qual, um, a single, effectively a single syllable, and I just can't really hold that in my head. Uh, I just noticed that if I had garage sale here, I could have garish. It's a little, I mean, maybe that's a little samey. Irish, garage, garish, even though the GAR of garish is reversed in garage. Again, it's feeling a little repetitive. Mm. Um, there's gallop, which is a fast dance. Uh, Let me just see. A equals 3. GAA star twiddle A ISH. Gamera, Galeras, Galumph, Gargoyle, Gatefold. Gatefold is like what is that? Like a paper, something about paper or typesetting? Ah, LP packaging. That's what that is. O L. Hmm. Hmm. So what can go here? So 6 star loco star. Don't want to have Procol without harem. Go cold. Uh, there's Coleco. Coleco is a video game company. was an American company. Toy company. Connecticut Leather Company. Sure. So if I have Coleco, then grocery. Hmm. Just see AST.e gives us astute. E. Breast go east. I'm surprised it doesn't give me AL east. I'll leave this open. Easter, East LA. So I'll leave this part open. Um, I also retain the right to take elastic out, but I think I may want to work up here because just to make sure I get this W. I'm thinking that I could get something here with WER or WED, and then maybe something like recite or recipe or decide device. Um, so do I want this to be dry something? A equals to dry dot a dot dot. Let's just put w dot dot first. Edit war unbode. And then of course we could also have dot it wait. Sorry. dry dot a actually has to be twiddle a because it's going backwards. we can also put have it be something dry. I like tawdry. So a lot of things ended in way. If I want way, I'm not liking the IC. What if it were war? Like wage war. Guess you could have cigars. Tragic's not going to work. That puts a GT at the end of the word. Um, Arabic, possible. Yeah, I was expecting to see um, more answers with a EW or ER. Wage war, maybe. We could have Reba for Reba McEntire. Let's see if we have other things. RA.IC dot. No. Curari is, I think, the poison from in poison dart frogs. Assinar. Cigars. We could also have this be East LA and Alba. Jessica Alba versus Reba McEntire. I'll leave that decision to that can be done in post. All right. Tawdry. So GE is a good ending for something. Could also be G blah 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 E. this wants to be a vowel or an R or an L. Well, okay, if it's actually it's pretty similar stats whether it goes G blank or blank G. You could have a vowel or like blank GE. You could have a vowel. You could have R, L, N, depending on the direction. I mean, GN is possible, but not as good in that configuration. You could have a Y for something like gyrate. And to go after T, it wants to be a vowel or a Y or R or H. So H is out, L is out, N is out, so it's a vowel or R. And then what comes after an N is also kind of restricted. It can be a vowel, it could be another N, it could be an N, T, G, K, S. So if we had, I don't know, emerge, dress something, could be like anemone. And then yeah, anything that's going, okay, if it's, so let's do a little bit more analysis here just to go through the possibilities. So we can have something that has a vowel here and then RGE. That's fine. Um, we could have, if we have a consonant, or if we have a vowel here, uh, oh, what I was thinking of is if it goes GR to E, then this is a vowel. This wants to be a consonant now, but TR consonant doesn't make sense unless this were Gracie for Gracie Allen. Um, TRI is slightly better than TRE, but let's say AB equals 3, A 0 dot, B equals 0 dot, star NEM AB TREC twiddle A C twiddle B. Oh, I forgot to specify how long C should be. Hopefully that will at least make the search shorter. Although could have just Anemone, Tremor, and Moreno, Rita Moreno, or No More. Um, Honestly, I might go with No More instead. Much as I love Rita Moreno, I feel like I'm gonna already have a fair number of first and last names. It'll depend on how the rest of the puzzle shakes out. And then I think once we get to what is this? The French spelling of chainmail? Oh, chain email. Ah, I'm on top of it. But that's probably too long. That's 10 letters, and it's a 13 letter row, so that's too long. There's also the possibility that the end is actually part of the first half of this row, but I don't want to do that. Of course, this was just one of several, one of four arrangements. Expect to have Moreno show up again. Wait, no. I'm now going, I've switched from going clockwise to counterclockwise, or vice versa. Fine Mesh and Shrove. Oh, Stained is an alternative band from the 90s. I don't recognize any of those songs, but I've at least heard of the band. Um, Now we swap roles in the row entries. Here's where I might expect to see Moreno again. Or maybe I'm wrong about how it. That's weird. Because we definitely should be able to have Anemone and Tremor. Oh, maybe it's broken down further? No. I am confused there, but I already know that the possibility exists. think of all of these, I like anemone and tremor the best. So now's where I'm like, okay, I need to sort of plan a little bit here because I want to have, like, these are the main. So I'm thinking I want something that goes G, 4 letters R here. And I want this to be a single word. Yeah, I've sort of got this situation on both sides where I just have this 5 or 6 letter entry that I want to play with this 10 letter entry. I'm hmm. I'm sort of um if I go G to R like this, it's really, this would have to be a vowel, which means that I would really want this to be a consonant because this is probably going to be, this is in fact almost always going to be an E. So consonant, and then this would be a vowel, and then I'd want this to be a consonant. There's certainly a lot that does that, but maybe Grover. I said that I was iffy about the number of names in this puzzle, but how can you say no to Grover? Such a cute and furry Muppet. And then I might be able to have over something here. How do I feel about over and Grover? But I could also have something that is GR blah. I could also have something that is R something ING. I think I need to step away briefly to use the restroom. I'll be back shortly. was I? I was taking a look at this entry. I haven't yet used an ing, and there are some, like, I don't, sometimes I'm reluctant to use ing too much because, like, if I had ing here, there's a good chance that both this and this 6 will be verbs ending in ing. It's not the worst dupe in the world, but again, it makes it less interesting. But if I have ing over here, there's no way that the ing is overlapping with something else. It's also putting me in mind of ginger, which is not going to work here. Although I could, no, that's not going to work here because the letters N, G, I, E, those don't begin words. But I was, shortly before going on stream, I was making cranberry sauce as part of my pre-cooking for Thanksgiving, and my cranberry sauce has ginger in it. It uses crystallized ginger. I substitute some of the sugar with crystallized ginger, and it's always a little bit of a balance, because cranberries, in addition to being very sour, are also somewhat bitter, and ginger is also somewhat bitter. And so you need enough sweetness to be able to balance that out. Last year I used more ginger than I would have liked. I still liked it. I would have liked it more with less ginger. But my partner Zilla and a couple of other of our guests are diehard fans of canned cranberry jelly, so we will have both homemade cranberry sauce and cylinders of cranberry jelly, as is right and proper in this household. They're allowed to have their opinions about cranberry sauce. But yeah, today I had made cranberry sauce and did some cleaning. Tomorrow I'm making 2 pies and cornbread, both gluten-free. And then everything else is Thursday. I am definitely the resident chef in the house. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. So what's gonna be good if I have... There actually aren't that many things. Go here. Maybe I could have like ice something. Another ego one, but that doesn't work here. Although I could put ethane here, ice en is not gonna work. I guess I could have lethal, but then that's ice ll. That was mostly a lark. So what are 10-letter things starting with ice? And I don't want them to end in ing for the reasons I was just talking about. So that takes out things like ice fishing and ice dancing, ice capades. Can't have iced coffee because I already have Irish coffee. Ice pudding would be acceptable because if the six is a verb ending in ing, pudding, pudding is not. Ice scraper could have a topical clue about Home Depot protests. That's not looking good. I would have to have something like anuria here, or probably something better than that. But yeah. Um, and then this is also kind of tricky. Um, yeah, I definitely want to break up those A's. Andrea, Azaria. Yeah, none of those are good. So not ice scraper. Icebreaker? That runs into the same problem of stacked A's. It's a little bit better placement because we have E. An E here makes it easier to have something like Amelia, anemia. This might not be the right thing to do here. Could have something like dawned or darned. Let me. Hmm. Dainty, damned, darned, dawned, daunts. Uh, Ad end, advent. So, NA dot 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 had darned, damned, Dawned. Daunt is probably not going to be good. Add end, advent. Could still have adding, although I don't want to. Let's not have. Hmm. I guess what I'm really concerned about is can we make a word with ALE? Hmm. Guess we could also have needs, KNEADS, if I needed an E here. It's a little harder to do all the combinations when you already have, excuse me, some of the letters set. Don't like any of that. So maybe it's like greater. We can still have the RE. All right, I want to get these two, and after that, I'm starting to um, lose focus. So I want to get these two entries in, and maybe these two entries. Once those are in, the sevens and fives should be easy. Let me just see, what do we have for gr dot dot er? Greater. Well, if I'm shying away from Grover and over, then I think greater is my best shot there. Could also do. It's probably, I'm guessing that's not going to be very nice. A-T-H-E. So that isn't going to work. What was something else? Oh, maybe try ground. How many 10-letter words are there that start with NU? 65. A bunch with number. Number link. Number sign. Okay, not that many that I'd actually want to use. But let's go for the old E equals 3, B equals 0 dot, C equals 3, NU AB dot 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 dot, DO C dot, twiddle A C twiddle B. And then I'll assume that the other stuff can fall out. A lot of things with nude resort and nude scenes. Gives us a lot of EDs. Ah, Nuevo Tango. Not going to include that in here, but Nuevo Tango is, well, new tango. It's tango that incorporated elements of other music. Well, it depends on who you're asking, but to me, it's tango that incorporates elements of other music as typified by the composer Astor Piazzolla, who is a great composer of tango. His big Adios Nonino and Libertango are both great. He has one that starts with a fugue, and like it's an action. It's not just like pretending to be a fugue. It's a full on fugue. It's really impressive, but still manages to be a tango. That's, I think I should stress that. So we have nurse stuff. I am I am only just now realizing that when we use nuts as a sort of epithet or mild oath, that we mean testicles. Just because, like, you say nut, like, nuts is one that you learn when you're young and your parents don't get mad at you for saying it. But it totally is. Like, especially when I see nuts to this, nuts to that. Like, the first thing that went into mind was like, you know, was the British expression bollocks to that, which makes no effort to hide that it's about testicles. Things I wish I didn't realize. Also, feel free to make fun of me for taking 46 years to realize that. There's definitely stuff in here that's usable. Could have like any number of things, numeration, numerators, numerology, and remove and do over. Um, let's just try the other combinations before I decide on one. So the problem with numerology is the OGY here, which you could have bygone, but then you're ending in NEB, which is not going to work. Uh, you could have uh, something like goodly. Go. Yeah, none of those really work at the end. So not going to go for numerology, but I could do other numer words. Okay, now we switch AB with C. I don't mind the entries that are relating to nude things, nude resort, nude photos, nude scenes. I might not use all of them, but nude person just seems, I don't know, it's very green painty. Yes, there's something unusual about a nude person, but like, I don't know. Uh, and then that. can't imagine that New Centauri is notable enough to get its own entry, unless it's something that's very close to Earth, but clearly not as close as Alpha Centauri. Just because the stars in a constellation are generally named in order of brightness, so New is like 13th or so down the list, 13th or 14th. Um, and usually, like, there are some stars that, like, I know Tau Ceti is relevant for some reason, but oh, it also is not. Even if it is notable, there aren't many stars whose Bayer designations I would consider interesting. Aside from Alpha Centauri, I'm not sure what else. If it's got another name like Sirius or whatever, but I wouldn't put in Alpha Canis Majoris. What's the genitive of that one? All the constellations have official genitives, which I don't know. I don't know if they are actually grammatically correct, but so that you can specifically so that you can say Alpha of Canis Major. Occurs to me that people may not know what genitive is. It's a case that is used in Latin and other languages that is kind of like the, one of the one of the few instances where English still has traces of cases is possessives and possessive pronouns. Arguably, the apostrophe s that marks a possessive is a genitive ending, but that's basically what genitive is. It is something that indicates uh, some sort of belonging um, or originating relationship. So, like Alpha Centauri, meaning the alpha star, brightest star of Centaurus. I mean, the problem is, I'm looking at all of these, and none of them are like, there's good ones, but nothing that is making me go, yes, that. Uh, Notallergy.net and talent is interesting. I think RGY is a better ending because you can have something like grassy or greasy. Might not be enough of those though. .net N-E-E-T. Could have beetle, but no, that's not actually that great a combination. Does an O make that any better? No, that makes it worse. So there were the numers with remove. Probably be like numerators. I don't know. I feel like Nude Resort is going to be have a good set of letters to work with. Hmm. Of the nurse things, I think Nurse Shark is best because nursemaid and nurse's aide both put two A's in a row here. An A on top of an A, which I already discussed was annoying to deal with. Again, feeling like Nude Resort is going to give me the best letters for the next row above it. Um, just kind of looking for what might be the best. Uh, did I not actually make this search? That'd be really silly if I had typed in it and not actually run the search. But I'm still confused by the fact that I have that. I have PCB is this, BCA. Oh, I must have done my searches out of order, and one of them is no longer in the can no longer go back to because I had done a different search in the middle of it. So what looked best out of the various nude resorts? It's basically what is the best letter to put here in this 6. Because we can easily get R. R could be arenas or erases, erased. You got a D, which is not as good. What else could we put there? I keep breaking the chain. Darn it. Put an S there. B. can't have tremor again. Hmm. I think this is where I'm going to have to call it because I don't feel like iterating all of the possible things that could go in here, and then for this 6, it's just going to be a bit of a slog that way. So, uh, but I think I can finish this without too much effort on my own. So I would say that I got um, the hard bits done. All right. I will be back next week with another puzzle. Until then, if you are celebrating Thanksgiving, I hope you have a good one. If Thanksgiving is difficult for you, I understand it's a difficult time. My thoughts are with you. Um, and I will be back next week. Good night.